Hello, my name is Sean Canterbury, and I'm a student in Notre Dame University in Maryland here in Baltimore. And today I'm going to demonstrate how to use the anticipatory guides in a virtual setting. Now, with this type of activity, there is some prep that needs to be done before you even introduce the material that you're going to teach. One thing you can do is create a Google Classroom or Canvas or whatever you use. Here we're using Google Classroom, and you want to create an assignment called True and False. And you want to create a document here, but it has to be a certain type of document. And let me show you what I mean. So let's go into Edit. So what you see here is that with this type of document, it's a Word document, and when the selection comes up, you want to make sure that each student will get a copy. Okay, so what this means is that they can edit the document and they each get their own. So while they work on it and you monitor the classroom, you can actually cycle through their assignments to see where they are in the assignment. It's extremely useful. I would highly recommend it. Okay, so now we're going to open up this document. So, in one of my classes, we're actually talking and reading Persepolis, which is about a young girl living through the Iranian Revolution. And so the first thing I want to do is to basically see what they know about Iran and about Islamic culture and generally the region. And then also just to break down some stereotypes that tend to exist, though they're not going to realize that probably until later in the classroom after we finish the first few chapters. So here what you want to do is you want to write a series of questions, and then you don't want them to be too exact to where they're obviously false or obviously true. Something a little more broad. So for example, women who wear the Islamic veil don't want to. They are forced to by the government or by their husbands, which is a big stereotype in the United States and the Western world in general, to be honest. And so what they will do, the students, without knowing much about Iran, they will select true or they will select false. And they will do this to every item in this list here. And then when they're finished, they will simply exit out. And then we will go back into our Zoom room, which I'm currently logged into now, where we will talk about what we saw in the document and why did you select true and why did you select false. And if there's enough students in the classroom or if the internet is stable enough, we can actually go into breakout groups between 2 to 3 students each where they share why they chose false and why they chose true. If your class needs a little more guidance, you can always use the shout out tool with the breakout rooms. It's not showing me here, but there should be a shout out tool where essentially you can say, do number 1, do number 2, do number 3, which is right here. You can simply pre-assign them these numbers to talk about right before you send them off into their breakout groups, just to make sure it's a little more focused. Now, then if you want to focus more on speaking, you can actually go to Flipgrid. And here you see there are 2 different assignments. Here we have true or false. There's no number here. And the students can actually respond to what they selected and basically why they chose that. So here's my response, for example. We're not going to play all of it. There's simply not enough time. And so once you actually play this, other people can, okay, this is not playing, but anyway, other people can comment. And so they will have to comment on at least 2 other ones after they watch it. And then by the end or halfway through the book, you'll go to true or false 2, which will basically, you will respond to what you posted beforehand. So for example, if I said for number 3, no, nobody in Iran speaks Arabic, then here I would address that and say if it's true or not. And you can honestly take this a little further if you want to, but this is essentially how I've found it to be the most useful. Thank you and have a good day.